Hi Muses! Welcome to another Muse Mojo sneak peek. I hope you have enjoyed the free trainings of me, myself, and the Muse. If not, you may be able to capture. You may be able to catch it for free live on this page for another few days before I run the Deliberate Doodles live challenge coming up. You will be able to find, I'm going to make it into a playlist. You'll find it as a playlist on my Facebook page. If not, the Me, Myself, and the Muse training will be inside Muse Mojo, so members have access to that. Muse Mojo is the village where it's a playground and a village for you to find connection and clarity and courage and to cultivate all of these things in connection to your creativity so that you can live a life of joyful purpose. Those are the conversations that I love having inside there with the other muses, and Me, Myself, and the Muse training was a sneak peek and really an overview of what it is to be a muse, the being of it, the mindset of it, how you make work so that it actually, you're not just dreamers, you're actually doers. You're not just like talking about things that you would like to do and be creative and use that, but you're actually making it happen and walking the walk, and really how to find your mojo with it, right? For all the dreaming, for all the doing, the real creative magic that comes into being is when the two are woven together, because I talk about life as your big overall masterpiece, and it's really you weaving a tapestry that's going to be a rich life. And sometimes weaving means multiple strings in all different areas of your life, but that is what makes it a beautiful, textured, multi-layered, multi-dimensional, rich tapestry. And so that is what Me, Myself, and the Muse training was all about. And today I'm going to talk about toddler tantrums as another way of looking at working with your creativity. Right? So before we get into it, in case you don't know me, I'm Brenda Mangalore. Welcome to my page. I'm an artist. I am a muse and a mentor for muses, and my calling is to create work and artwork, whether it is in my paintings or whether it is in these kind of trainings and my membership resource village, to help you express your creativity and your spirituality. And that's really what kind of gives me life and energy and stuff. And I'm also a mama of two, and so this is where my experience comes from, right? My youngest is hitting that toddler age where she's reaching a point where she is throwing tantrums, and she doesn't do it very often because she doesn't really express herself in that way. She's very physical as it is. But what I remembered, because my eldest was very expressive, like she would just cry everything out, which has its pros and cons. And this is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about parenting and all that kind of stuff. What I was reminded of is that, especially second time round, you know, when you see a toddler who's like fully getting into it, they're like chucking a tanty, like really just like full bodied. And my youngest actually does this. My eldest didn't do this. Like on the ground, she needs to be on the ground flat, kicking her feet and screaming at the top of her lungs, and not just like scream, but like all full lung capacity usage, like bellowing out all her frustration and anger. And you know, it was the other day, it was because I didn't let her hold the spoon, because I wanted to hold the spoon because she was going to spit because it was soup. Anyway. And so see this attitude where I'm just like, you know, a little impatient, a little frustrated, but at the same time with deep understanding and compassion, really, because I understand that she was tired and she was frustrated because of not being able to express her needs, and frustrated at how the world works, and just these two things. So this is a sneak peek of a Muse Mojo training. I just literally did a weekly workshop in there on this, where I found this list on my notes app of toddler toys to give myself a list of toddler toys for when I'm impatient and procrastinating. And the reason I was sharing that in there because my muses get all my resources and the things that I have to help me come back to my creative work, how I can come back and find some sort of consistency in showing up when I'm tired and exhausted and life is really busy, and how I find courage to show up and try new things and explore my creativity, because that's what creativity is. It's bringing new things into life. It is using your energy in more ways than just systems and structure, but like problem solving, creating new things, finding beauty amongst the mess, which is all stuff we talked about in the Me, Myself, and the Muse training. And so I just want to give you a sneak peek. I obviously can't go into it. It was like a 30-minute thing and I don't have a lot of time today. So I wanted this to be a quick sneak peek, but to give you some prompts to think in this new way, because sometimes creativity isn't about the skill set, or, you know, when people ask me questions like, Brenda, how do you find the time, or how do you balance it all? How do you create such inspiring work? Really, I think deep down, one of the questions is really, how do I find the courage to show up? Or why am I not disciplined enough? Or why am I not disciplined enough? Or why am I not brave enough? And so I want you to think of it in a new way, because in the end, that's what Muse Mojo was all about, to create this playground and this village that you can feel safe to explore and find new ways of seeing things, but also finding your own flavor of resistance and procrastination and all that kind of stuff when you're frustrated about why you're not showing up, why you're not creating creative work even though you're so inspired and you want to do it, but you feel scared, or why you just not consistently showing up even though you really should, but then you kept getting distracted. If you can think in a new way, then my job is done. So today, I'm going to think about toddlers and they're throwing a tantrum. And you understand that the reason they're throwing a tantrum, and you give them so much more compassion and patience, because you know that they are tired, that they are frustrated. And they're frustrated because they cannot wrap their heads around this new way of being and this new way of seeing things, and that it isn't quite what they can control. Now, if you can turn that back around to yourself, you cannot show up courageously, you cannot show up consistently, you cannot be brave, you cannot step out in faith and with deep patience when you're tired. And I'm not just talking about physically tired, because hey, I'm there. Hey, Carly. Haven't had a full night's sleep in the last 3-4 nights because my toddler has not been sleeping through the night. It may be nightmares, we're not sure. And I'm remembering when she's tired, when I'm tired, it is hard to be courageous. It is hard to just show up and try new things. It is hard to step forward and exploring new ways when I'm tired. It is hard to, and not just tired physically, but also emotionally or creatively or like energetically. You know how when you're expending energetic energy on other people's needs, because it's just so much easier if you could just like give them all that stuff. Anyway. So if you can recognize that, and if I can give myself the same compassion that I give my toddler, then you can go, oh, what you need is just space to get some energy back, which is where my toddler toys come in, my list of toddler toys, that tired part. And so then I wrote this list ages ago and completely forgot about it, and I'm so glad I brought it back because now I can remember. It was me recognizing my own pattern that when I'm procrastinating or when I'm really impatient, it's because I'm either frustrated or I'm overwhelmed. And when I'm overwhelmed or impatient, I want to destroy what I'm currently working on, or I want to avoid what I'm currently working on. But I also, in my better, less tired self, recognize that sometimes I just need, it's a toddler in my mind that is going to just need a bit of a toy to distract myself so that I don't destroy the work that I'm currently working on. Like, that quote where it's don't dig up in doubt what you planted in faith. Sometimes you just need to step away. And sometimes because I'm overwhelmed by fear and all the things, recognizing that pattern, this is why I talk about embracing resistance instead of battling it. Because when you're battling it, that's when you're like berating yourself for your lack of discipline, and when you're, why can't you just get over it already? You don't say that to a toddler because you're understanding and compassionate and patient. They're tired. They just need to get some more energy back. So what is it that you need that would go on your toddler toys list, toddler tantrum toys list, for your creativity or for the work that you want to do showing up when you're feeling tired? Maybe you need something that kind of rejuvenates your energy, or to take a rest. But for me, I know sometimes resting doesn't feel as good because it's still bugging me in my mind. So my list feels, there are things that feel pleasurable. Like I'm researching things that I've always wanted to look into, but I've never got looked into because I didn't have time. But it's a way of anticipating something new that I can do in the future. And that something new in the future then gives me that sense of excitement. But at the same time, I'm practicing thinking about doing something new in the future, which also then helps you on the other side, right? When you don't throw tantrums when they're just tired, but they also throw it when they're super frustrated. And they're frustrated, or when I'm talking you, but I'm also talking about toddlers, but within all of us, there's a toddler, right? You're frustrated because you're frustrated at the way the world is. You're frustrated at your lack of control of certain things. You're frustrated at how something didn't turn out the way you want it to turn out. And so how is that not a reflection of us? We can't control every single thing, especially in creative work, because the beauty of creativity is about the chaos and the mystery and the mayhem of stuff. And that's where the beauty comes from, which again is in my myself and the Muse training. I think 3 and definitely 4 was about the mayhem and the chaos and stuff. Look into that. You can't control everything. And yes, totally get why you're frustrated. And so then my toddler toys list is looking up things, especially for my work, and researching new apps that I've always wanted to look into, or looking at new ways of doing things. And it just feels a little productive. It's something that I can control because it's on my list and I can tick it off. But it's something that's always been pushed down the priority list, which is fine, because I always talk about focusing on what you need to focus on, especially the big project that I'm getting frustrated by. But it's been pushed off my list, but it's still kind of bugging me. So then I give that a little attention. And then that gives me a sense of, you know what, I am capable. There is more to all the things that I'm working on than what I currently feel like I can't control and I'm frustrated with. And I can just do it for 5-10 minutes. And basically all these toddler toys lists, right? Let me just give you a quick example. I posted my full example inside the MUSE MOJO membership. If you're already a member, definitely check it out in there. But there was stuff like, work on my email funnel, rewriting my email list, welcome emails, which I really enjoy because it's not like an immediate emergency thing, but it's something that's been on my list for a little while, but I haven't really got into it and it's currently not on my focus. It's like reading a marketing book or a certain creative book that I've always wanted to read, but I just, don't have time, and I'm kids and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? Sometimes when I feel myself throwing an inner toddler tantrum because I want to procrastinate and avoid and I'm feeling overwhelmed, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just reading a creative book, looking at children's stories. I collect really beautiful illustrated children's stories books, looking at that and just feeling inspired and just connected to creativity in a way that isn't the thing that I'm working on that I'm super frustrated with. So this was supposed to be quick, and I want to be super quick because I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do today. What can you definitely make a list? This is a resource that you can gift yourself. When you're feeling tired, when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling impatient and you want to destroy everything that you're making, when you're procrastinating because you're feeling overwhelmed and fearful and doubtful about what you're making and you don't want to start because, you're scared, and what happens if you're not worth it and all that kind of stuff. Give yourself that perspective of a mum who has deep compassion and patience with her toddler, knowing that the tantrum isn't just about the thing that you're tantruming about, that there's probably a bigger story involved. There are bigger fears and bigger things that you're trying to deal with. But right now, just not having the mental, emotional, physical capacity to handle it. So how can you, just like how, and I gave this example, which was great. That's why I love showing up in my MUSE MOJO stuff, giving myself this example. You know how you take a friend out who's just dealing with something really big, but you take them out for a coffee so they can just be distracted for 5-10 minutes. Maybe not, probably 20 minutes, right? Half an hour, just like a quick coffee. It doesn't dismiss the thing that they're struggling with, or, the tantrum that you're struggling. It doesn't dismiss it. It doesn't try to override it. It doesn't try to, solve it straight away. It's just a little moment, like a little ad break of distraction that still feeds your creativity, still feeds, because we're doing this on purpose for ourselves, for our creative work, for giving ourselves the mindset and the courage and all that kind of stuff. Giving ourselves that little ad break to kind of summon up the energy, summon up the emotional strength, to basically expend all that nervous energy, because sometimes the impatience and procrastination is just too much energy of overwhelm and fear, to just expand it. So sometimes it might be exercise if that's the thing, or I don't know, I can't think of anything right now. And for me, it was just like reading, doing a new type of doodling process, or researching a new app for color palettes and stuff like that, because I like to exercise my creative color muscles instead. So you take your friend out as an ad break to get themselves that strength for a little bit, so that then, and they know this as well, they're not avoiding their thing, but then as a friend, you are basically saying to them, hey, let's get distracted for a little bit. We're not procrastinating forever, so that you can come back, and then I can hold that space for you, so then you can face the hard thing that you need to do. And the hard thing might not be so hard when you look at it come up. Or maybe when you come back, yes, it's still hard, but now you have more strength, more compassion and patience to just dive into it, more wisdom in understanding that, hey, yes, it's hard, but now I know the hard part isn't this whole thing, it's just this small part that's hard, and if I can just find an easier way of doing this slightly hard step, then the rest of it will fall into place. Was that helpful? Was that a new way of looking at it? I think within all of us, when you're always asking that question of how come she's so much better, and how come she's so much braver, and how come she's so much more disciplined and consistent, most of the time it's not that. It's just knowing your own pattern, your own flavor of resistance, and how you show up, and having compassion for yourself for that, and having the patience and to be able to recognize that pattern flavor, and giving yourself that gift of curiosity and going, okay, how can I work with that? Which is where that toddler toys list, you're going to have to make your own. You'll get ideas now that you've watched this that will spark within you. Definitely record it down for your future self, although for your current self too, so that you can have resources. Instead of berating yourself, instead of battling resistance, you can embrace it, and then find your way back. New strength, refresh yourself, new insight, new capacity to be able to hold that overwhelming fear, and then get back to doing the work that you want to do. That's it for today. As I said, this was a sneak peek of Muse Mojo training. This is what I talk about and share inside my village. Currently, we're still doing month-to-month membership. You can join us for $1 for today. You can just join us for $1 and check out all that stuff, and have access to me, myself, and the Muse as well, which is going to be in there forever. It's going to be available only for free on my page for a limited time. And we're going to be doing the Deliberate Doodles live challenge coming up next week. Not this week, next week, and because we'll do a live round of Deliberate Doodles in there as well, because Muse Mojo members have access to my signature Deliberate Doodles workshop, as well as my Creativity Catalyst course. Basically, if you're looking to cultivate clarity on what it is that you want to do next in your next chapter, cultivate courage in order to show up and do the work that you've been longing to do, things that you're curious about, things that have been calling you, and to cultivate connection with your creativity and with the community of creatives who want to do more than just wish and dream, but actually show up to be a muse, amused as well, but also a muse, to be the kind of person who's not only inspired by the creative and inspiring and beautiful things of this world and people of this world and living life, but also to be a muse is to inspire others, and we inspire others by the things that we do and explore and create. And so that's what we're doing inside the Muse Mojo. I would love to see you in there. Till next time, I'm going to get back into other stuff and creating more work for more amazing resources for my Muse Mojo members as well. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for being here. As always, definitely comment below the insights and ahas and the things that you resonated with, not only just so that I know what it is that you connected with, but also for yourself, that you can remember. And just that act of commenting or doing love heart showers helps cement within you that spark of idea, then helps steps and deepens within you, so that you can remember what that insight and that connection was that you made. I will see you guys next time. Love ya.